to Julie.v doing it with me, and today I will be showing you how to bake a superb apple crumble, which will leave your family coming back for more. Step 1. Pastry, our flour, white sugar, butter and baking powder. We're going to start off by sieving our flour, 180 grams of cake flour. We're going to sieve it in with our sugar, with our white sugar. Baking powder, we're going to use 1.5 teaspoons. Now we just have sugar left. You can just add your leftover sugar. Now that all of that's mixed in, we're just going to give it a quick stir to make sure our flour, baking powder and sugar is mixed in. Once that's all together, we're now going to rub in our butter using our fingers. It's cold butter chopped into cubes. Your mixture is ready when your mixture looks like breadcrumbs. So once you've gotten to that point, we're now going to squish our pastry down, flatten it along our bowl to form our crust, and we are going to grease spray our pan so that it doesn't stick. Now you're just gonna put it all in and you try to even it out because you want to have it as even as possible for your pie. You can have a few big lumps, it's fine. It doesn't necessarily all have to be completely mixed. And you're going to start to try and push it onto the sides. Make sure you press down to form a solid base, and once you have reasonably covered your sides and bottom, you can no longer see the bottom of your glass or your dish. You have completed step 1, pastry. Before you start with step 2, a good scrub of the hands to get rid of the buttery fingers. Filling. You need 2 tins of unsweetened apple or pie apples. You can use chopped apples, but I prefer the tins. And when removing the lids, be careful not to cut your fingers. That's very dangerous. So we're just going to pour our apple in there. It can be a bit stubborn to come out the jar, so there we go. That one's making funny noise. There we go. If you think you have enough apple, then you can just leave it as that, or you can use the second tin. You don't necessarily have to use apple. You can add peach or any other fruit, tinned fruit if you want, if you would prefer than apple. Ah, there we go. That one was much quicker. Now we're just going to even it out, but don't worry too much about that because we're now going to add 1 teaspoon of corn flour. So we're just going to get our measuring spoons. just gonna like try to spread it around. Then we're going to take a pinch of nutmeg. The nutmeg and cinnamon is just to add flavor. You don't have to use nutmeg, but the cinnamon does add a lot of the flavor. So I tend to use a lot of cinnamon. You can just like try and cover in your apples. And just bearing in mind that the crust and the crumble on top are full of sugar. So if you want to add sugar to your filling, you can, but it is going to get sweet with all that sugar. And step 2 is the quickest of the steps, because now you just flatten it out, squish it, and there we go. Step 3. It's a slight twist from step 1. Our measurements are just a little bit different, and we're not adding baking powder, but it's the same. White sugar, flour, and salted butter. We're going to sieve our flour. This is our crumble, so it's got to be the same as the crust. It's just we don't need the baking powder because the baking powder lifts the crust and we don't need that for the crumble. So now we've got our butter in, and same thing as step 1, we're going to mix our fingers and get dirty. Now the plate therapy is done. We're moving on to putting our crumble onto our dish. It is a slightly different consistency, so if you're worried that it's a bit thinner, it's perfectly fine. You're doing the correct thing. So onwards we go. Just again with the crumble, spread it evenly. If you don't want to and you want to have like edges, it's up to you. Be creative. Just shake it up a bit because we don't want this flat surface. We want it to be like a crumble, so you can just, once you've distributed it evenly over everything, you can just give it like a little shake to make dense. After 10 minutes in the oven, 10 minutes under the grill, we now have a golden apple crumble. We're now just going to sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon to add some pizzazz. Now you have your fully completed pie. Enjoy!